We as a church have an amazing opportunity to be in a posture of influence, just in the same posture that Jimmy talks about how Jesus took toward us in serving us. Is we believe God's calling us as a church to posture ourselves to influence others. And we call this we believe that God's called us into this. And if you've been with Westside for a while, you might know a little bit about our story. We're a church that's just now over 2 years old, and God's blown our minds. And over the last year, about this time last year, the pastors, we as a pastoral team got together. We began to pray, God, where are you leading us in the next 10? Where are you leading us? Just what's the future? You blew our expectations. You blew our mind with what you've done here. And now we feel responsible to see where you're going and give us the way forward so we can lead your people in this church into that. And so in this, we've been praying, and God gave us what we call our 10-year vision. And we've been sharing this over the past couple months, not past couple years. We've been sharing this over the past couple months. We shared it at the end of last year, and we've shared it in different environments. And I wanted to bring it back to us today, because this is where God has given us an opportunity to look forward and say, God, we want to influence as many people for you. And this is our 10-year vision. And in this, we want to let you know about this and remind you of this. And this is what we call our 10 to 10K. If we were headed to the top of this mountain, this is the mountain God's calling Westside Leavenworth to. We believe this is. And this is what we say. This is our 10 to 10K vision. That in the next 10 years, we believe that Westside Leavenworth will have influenced 10,000 people to live on an expression of the mission to love Jesus, become like Jesus, and share Jesus. That is a big, audacious dream. And this is how it's going to look over the next 3 years, is we believe there's 4 components to this, that in the next 3 years, by the end of 2020, that we will grow here locally by 150 new families. That we're going to reach 150 new families, and we're going to be a community here that grow. And the reason we want to grow is because every number has a name, every name has a story, and every story matters to Jesus. We want to serve our families and our community, and we want to serve, and we want to grow by 150 new families. And in order to do that, it's not just here. See, in order to reach 10,000 people, it's not going to be we're going to be a church of 10,000. That's not it at all. We're going to influence 10,000 people, and we're going to grow here. But it also means we're going to be launching other churches. This has been our dream since the beginning, to launch other churches. And this is our 1-2-1 vision for church planting. That in the next 3 years, we're going to plant 1 new campus. That means that we're going to maybe find a community that's close to Leavenworth here, or maybe another city, a smaller town. And we're going to be able to launch a video campus of Westside Leavenworth there to reach the people there that are far from God and see them to begin to live on mission. That 2 stands for 2 international church plants. We want to plant 2 international churches. We have a conversation going right now in South Africa. My family and I served in South Africa. We planted a church, and out of that, there is a church planter school. There are 20 pastors being developed. And right now, we are focusing on adopting a village in South Africa so we can see churches begin to emerge in homes. What would it look like in the next 3 years to adopt 2 villages, or maybe even 3 villages, to where we can see God begin to influence people who are far from God in South Africa and other countries, and to see what God's doing in that. And then the third part of that 1-2-1 is we want to plant a local church. We want to plant the church here in our community that'll reach a part of our community that will never come to us. And we want to go to them. And then in order to do all this, we have to have leaders. That means we need you. God needs you to step up and to say, hey, God has given me something, that he's given me wisdom, he's given me knowledge, he's given me giftedness, and he wants me to leverage that now to serve and to posture ourselves under and join him in serving people who are far from God. And this is what it means. It means that we need to develop leaders. And many of you are people that God's going to be using and developing, and you're going to step into an opportunity to influence others. And here are 3 ways that we see this happening. One is we believe that we're going to have 100 life groups in 3 years. That means we need 100 life group leaders. That if we're going to be a church who grows and becomes healthy, we got to grow smaller as we grow larger. And it's more important to be in a circle, we believe, than it is to sit for an hour on Sunday in a row. And through being in a circle, we create an opportunity for other people to come and follow Jesus, and we do it in community. And when we do things in community, it's when we become more like Jesus, and when we get the opportunity to share Jesus and love Jesus together. Sundays are great, But we want you to be in a small community. And many of you are not in community. Right now, we have a little less than 20 life groups that are actively meeting. We want to see that grow exponentially. And in this year, many of you are going to have the opportunity to lead a life group. We are hoping to see 40 life groups in this fall as we start our next life group launch. And so would you begin to pray? Are you one of the 40 that this year could be a life group leader and open up your home and host it and be one that just says, hey, I'm going to start a discussion, and how can we live life together? How can we meet together on a regular basis and follow Jesus? Also, that means that 10FC stands for faith communities, that we want to see 10 groups of people, 10 faith communities, and this is a group of people who intentionally live their faith out in a demographic or an area of our community to reach the people who are far from God. Specifically, that say we're going to live our faith out to reach those people who are far from God. And then this 50M is an opportunity for us to make an impact through our military community that's here. Many of you, some of you here are military, you're active duty, and you're going to be leaving West Side, and you're going to be here for a year, or you're going to be going, or you're just coming in, and next year or two, you're going to be leaving. We are grateful that you're here, and we're not losing you. We want to send you. And we're praying that God, over the next 3 years, will inspire 50 military families to say, we want to live on mission wherever we go. That wherever we go, we're going to be on mission. And we're going to bring other people and call other people into this mission of loving Jesus, becoming like Jesus, and sharing Jesus. And we're going to influence them. And we're praying that we'll be able to commission 50 military families to be sent on mission wherever they live, where they work, and wherever they play. But in order to do this, it takes generosity. And that's our last component of this, is we want to be open-handed with our resources. We want to be open-handed with what God's given us. And we want to be open-handed with our people to send them. We want to be open-handed with our finances to give them. And this is what we're praying over the next 3 years, that we increase the amount of people who are regular givers. That's what that circle means with those arrows. I want to encourage you to step into regular generosity as a discipleship method for you as you come closer to Jesus. And for those of you that regularly give, we challenge you that maybe this year is a year that you can say, God, I want to give 1% more. Or maybe as you go into next year, God, what would it look like for me to give 1% more? And that's what we want to believe. We believe over the next 3 years is that God's going to use us to influence many people. Many people. He's going to do immeasurably more through us. And this is through you, what it looks like. That this year, what would it look like? We have one goal this year that I believe will support every one of these. When we see 500 people share their next step story, share their story of taking a next step and a growth step. And you've heard us been talking about these 12 growth steps. This booklet is available at the info table. If you haven't had one, received one, I encourage you to receive one. But would you pray about what your next step is? And this is what we want you to do. We want you to take that next step, then share that story with someone else, and then share that story with us. And we believe as you're taking your next step, we're going to gain more influence for the kingdom of God. And today we have a special next step that we want to share with you, because we're about ready to embark on taking and being able to do what God has called us to do in order to plant a church. And we believe God has called us to plant a church here in our community, and we've been praying about this for the last couple months. And this is a next step story that is not just my next step story. This is a next step story that Jimmy, I want him to share today, because this involves you, buddy. Come share with them what God's been laying on your heart, my friend.
We're going to plant church.
Amen. That's my toe.
Wow.
Isn't that awesome?
We are going to plant a church called Discover Church Leavenworth, and it is going to be downtown. And we're going to plant a pin in the middle of the urban center of Leavenworth, such as it is, right? And we're going to discover again the first city of Kansas, and we are going where God leads us. I've been feeling this call and this urge, and I can't believe I've only planted one church in the last 8 years. But this was the greatest experience that I've had, and it has continually encouraged me to keep thinking about where are we going next, right? Yeah. We always talk about let's be a church planting church. And as Casey has shared this vision, I mean, the reason that vision is up there is because without some steps towards that vision, without and constantly telling ourselves, let's go, let's go, let's go, we will just stay. So what we're doing is to become pioneers again, to go move into pioneer territory. We're going to move into Leavenworth, right? Because I want to be on the pioneer edge of things. That's where I tend to like to be, where it's messy and where we're starting projects and where we're getting something new going. So that's my heart.
Now, many of you are like me. We love Jimmy, and we're grateful for our relationship, and we're so, go ahead and, man, we're so thankful for you, bud. But we want to be open-handed with our resources, even our leaders. And Jimmy, this is what God's calling him to. We believe this is now how we're going to be able to make an impact in our community, where God has been leading us this past year. And Jimmy's going to be the one to get to lead this. And it's not just him. We need to be open-handed with you. There are several of you here today that you need to discover if this is an interest, or maybe see if this is what God's calling you to. Maybe something sparked inside of you. There's going to be an interest meeting on May 14, which is a week from tomorrow night at 7 p.m. Then we're going to have an interest meeting here at the church building here. And if we got some people that are going to be handing you just an invite. This is what I want you to do with that invite. This invite is for you if you're interested in this. And if not, maybe you know somebody that lives downtown. Maybe you're friends with somebody. They might not even be a Christ follower. But would you invite them to this interest meeting? And let's make an impact on our community downtown. Jimmy, I want you to share with them why downtown.
Well, we've talked a little bit about why we go. It's because it's Jesus' mission. Jesus was the first missionary, right? He came to be with us in order to bring the best news, right? And we continue to do that. We're on his mission, but why go downtown? Why not just stay here, right? Yeah. I think that if you look around the city and you take a walk around, you're going to find more challenge in the center of our city when it comes to the things that people have to deal with. There's a lot of things that are challenges without resources. And here's what I want to do. I want us to discover what God's doing and come alongside him and join him on his mission, and discover how we bring the resources of a boundless and endless kingdom wealth to whatever situation we find, wherever we go, right? And I believe that there is a great need for us to go and to be in this posture of other-oriented, self-sacrificing, enemy-embracing, that heart. We need to bring that heart to a different part of our city. And I don't think that when we do that, we're going to be done. Mm-hmm. I think it's just the beginning.
And so what the timeline looks like on this is Jimmy's going to be with us for this year, and then on January 1 of 2019, we're going to officially be launching our first church plant called Discover Church Leavenworth. Will you stand with me? We're so grateful for you and how God is leading you, but comes back to all of us taking the responsibility for our next step. So maybe there's a next step from today's teaching for you to use your power under people. Maybe this is an opportunity for you to step into a next step with Jimmy and say, hey, we want to use the resources and our life story to reach people that aren't going to come to us, that we need to go to them in our city. We believe in the local church because this is the thing that Jesus came to start. He said, I will build my church. And that's what we're going to invest in. That's what we're going to partner in. So will you pray with me as we take our next step as a church and as individuals? Jesus, we thank you for coming and stepping into our life and showing us your love. And today we want to respond to that love, saying, God, where is it in our life that we need to reflect your character? How do we need to come under somebody else personally? And God, we also want to come under our community. And that's why we're planting churches. We want to reach the people who are far from you that need you. So we send Jimmy off. We commission those that need to join him in this mission. And God, we ask that as we join you, may you continue to build your church, and may we have the awesome, amazing opportunity to be a church who does influence 10,000 people who are living on an expression of loving you, becoming like you, and sharing you with the world around us. In your name, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
God bless you, Westside. We'll see you next Sunday.